Hi, I'm Claudy and I was born in 1998. As a millennial in the workplace, I often feel like my generation's quite misunderstood by the older generations. Our childhoods were mostly screen-free. I remember VHS tapes and cassette tapes, but I also remember when the first iPods came out and the rise of Snapchat. We were communicating with our friends via email and BlackBerry Messenger, and now we're navigating our 20s and 30s in the workplace. The job market is incredibly competitive now, and it often feels like we have to try and find other ways to stand out because so many of us have degrees. And I do think this means that there will be a rise in apprenticeships going forward because the more vocational career paths seem to be doing a lot better, especially because those skills aren't as common anymore. In the corporate world, a lot of jobs still seem to be set up around a 9-to-5 schedule with a set amount of tasks, but this doesn't reflect how efficient some people can be today. The older generation, for example, might take longer completing a task that is technology-based, whereas my generation grew up with computer games and things, which taught us to problem solve quickly and to multitask. So sometimes we find ourselves at work at a 9-to-5 and we're not being truly productive. I do also think that the salaries that are being offered now don't match the cost of living. Where our parents could afford homes and holidays on their average salaries, it's actually seen as quite normal now to have a second job or a side hustle just to make up your income. And I think that's why a lot of millennials now are seeking self-employment or flexible working, because it just doesn't feel worth it to sell ourselves to a company when the return just isn't there. I definitely have, though, learnt a lot from the older generation. Their patience, their work ethic and their resilience is impeccable. My parents in particular taught me a lot of these values. I got my first job at 16 in a frozen food shop and I've worked really hard ever since. But the one thing I have realised is how important a work-life balance is. Life is so precious and you can't live it again. So I do prioritise time for the things that matter to me outside of work. My mum is self-employed and works as a childminder, and whilst we were so lucky to have her at home, she was still working. My dad worked 2 jobs for a lot of our childhood, which meant he wasn't at home very much, and he has recently retired, which kind of made me reflect on my own future. I don't want to retire with those regrets that I haven't spent enough time with my family. So to wrap it all up, I don't think we're lazy or anti-older generation. I think we've learnt a lot from those who came before us, especially with their work ethic. But what we do want is to enjoy life as much as we possibly can and make sure we're using our time and energy in ways that matter to us. I think for us, it's about finding balance whilst being effective with our work, but also finding time to enjoy things outside of work. Because at the end of the day, life's too short not to.